r/ProRevenge.
How I messed up my nasty neighbor's marriage. My mother Anne moved back to Germany for a year after her and my dad split up. She had been a housewife for most of their marriage and even quit university because she got pregnant with me, and my father, who was quite a bit older, had a good job and was able to support her well. So when we moved back to Germany and stayed at my aunt's, my mother didn't have many qualifications. But she did courses at night and worked during the day to take care of me, and I'm proud of her. I also didn't want to be too much of a burden on her, and I like to be independent, so I took up small jobs like babysitting. One of our neighbors, who were good friends of my aunt and quite well off, would pay me quite a lot to mind their kids. I almost became like a cheap nanny and would spend some weekends just minding them all day. While I liked getting paid and the children were lovely, I really didn't like the couple. See, my mother is German and my dad is Jamaican. A mixing this couple didn't approve of, and the wife would occasionally say offensive things in a roundabout way about me being half Jamaican or my dad. Like if I made a mistake, she would say I need to listen to my native half, meaning German. She later changed it to brighter since it was too on the nose. She would also take digs at my mother in the most passive-aggressive ways. Always going on about her PhD and being a professor and how she's glad her life didn't get sidetracked by bad influences, meaning my mother ending up with a Jamaican. It was constantly like this and worse. I think it bothered me more than it bothered my mother, who never let what others said get to her. Now the husband. Well, where do I start? He would always eye me, like constantly staring at me and mentally undressing me. I tried to ignore it for the most part, but I knew his wife sometimes caught it and it pissed her off, which made me sort of like it. He would always say suggestive things, and I'm pretty sure that he paid me far more than they normally would, and that pissed her off even more. I'm pretty sure if it weren't for him she would have fired me, but he's clearly the dominant of the two. I did think of quitting as well, but they had a niece who would visit often and she was about my age and we got along well. So really I kept on good terms with the family because they were my neighbors, and paid well, but mostly because of their niece. But when my mother announced we were leaving Germany again because she got an opportunity abroad, the husband started to get a bit more aggressively suggestive and his wife got nastier, and I was starting to get more pissed off. Her husband started following and interacting with my social media more. He would also send me memes which would turn into text messages that went on late. I feel bad because I indulged it, partly because I was afraid and didn't want to rock the boat, and partly because I knew it was pissing off his wife. He accidentally sent me a pic with him topless in towel once, then immediately said it was for his wife. One day I was in their pool with their niece. The husband joined us, and while play fighting in the water he came up behind, accidentally slid his hands under my bikini top and copped a feel. At this stage I told myself I was going to do something to get them back before we left Germany. At dinner that night with him, his wife, and my family, I joked about a watered-down version of the pool incident. At the dinner table, everyone thought it was just an off comment and laughed it off. But he went very quiet, and I could tell despite laughing, his wife wanted to kill him with her eyes. Me and their niece got into an argument after because she said my joke was inappropriate, and I said that her uncle was inappropriate, kinda tongue-in-cheek but also not really. It's not like I had proof either because I deleted all his messages. After that we weren't as close anymore. You'd think this incident would have stopped my neighbor from being suggestive, but he only got worse and would openly say things like "let me squeeze," but as a joke. So on my last day babysitting while the kids were asleep, I stayed in their pool with their niece. The husband came out and sent her off to a local shop to get something for him, saying he had a bad back. Yeah, right, he just wanted to be alone with me. He got in pool and started play fighting in the water again. I got out for a few minutes and while upstairs saw his wife cycling towards the house, and straight away I got an awful idea, but right then didn't care. I ran back for the pool and took off my bikini top. I told him, "Is that what you were waiting for then?" And he grinned like an idiot. I jumped in the water and waited till the very last moment before letting him reach me. I asked to get on his shoulders and he let me on. In mere seconds his wife walked out into the back garden, seeing me on his shoulders topless. She was speechless and paler than pale. He froze, and when she managed to finally say something he lied, saying the straps off my top must have come off and he didn't notice. But I just said in laughing voice that we were just playing. Without saying a word his wife just turned and walked back into the house. He got out of the pool and went after her. He didn't say much at all to me after and paid me 5 times the amount, saying to just forget the pool. That was the last day that I saw that man. After moving, I learned from my aunt that shortly after we left, the couple went into marriage counseling, which according to her was weird because they were the perfect power couple of the neighborhood and were the backbone of the community, never having major issues. I feel sort of bad for it because of the kids and that I escalated things too far. But honestly, a part of me says fuck that couple. I haven't told my mother all this yet, not because she'd be angry with me, but because she'd be upset that I went through this alone.
A response to the post.
They deserved it. I am sorry this couple treated you poorly. As for you and your mom, my heart goes out to you both.
Oh, peace response to this comment.
Thank you. We're better off now.
A response to the post.
Your story reminds me of a couple I once worked for. The wife was a tiny, hard-nosed German woman. Her husband was more gregarious, easygoing, and generous man from Turkey. For context, I was a 20-year-old voluptuous, overweight and busty American who always liked to work 2 jobs. This couple owned a jewelry store. So after I would finish my full-time shift at an office, I would come work 3 hours each evening at their store. They had a son, so I only worked with one of them at a time. The husband seemed pleased with my work. He would tell me that he wanted to make me a manager. I knew that this meant he and his wife really needed some time off together. They had opened the store 1 year before and had not had a day off together yet. But whenever I worked with the wife, she would tell me that her husband complained about me at home to her. So she would have me polish the glass cases better or some crazy thing. She was either impressed or simply astounded by my size. I was easily twice as big as her. She always had negative remarks for me when we were alone. She would literally stare at my butt as I would climb into the display case to bring inventory to the safe at night when we were closing the store. I mean, she would basically try to get into the display case with me. That's how closely she was looking at my butt, visually measuring the distance between my hips and the walls. She seemed astounded that I could get in there at all. Yes, I had a curvy ass. So after 3 months of all of this, the man being nice to me, the woman being snippy with me, she phoned me up one day and told me not to bother coming to work anymore. She said they didn't need an extra hand in the shop. What a chicken SHT move. That is the only time I have ever been fired from a job. And I'm very old now. I have always suspected that the husband may have complimented my work. He was never inappropriate with me, and the wife may have been jealous. She was certainly judgmental toward this fat girl.
A response to the post.
That's not pro-revenge. The husband should be divorced and charged for being a pedo/sexual assault.